The presidents of Russia and Venezuela signed a strategic partnership and cooperation agreement with which the Russian nation grants the highest level of relations to Venezuela and chooses it as the main partner in the region. At the Vatican City, black smoke billowed from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel, signaling that no pope was elected on the first ballot of the conclave. In Palestine on Wednesday, a new Israeli attack killed more than 60 people across the Gaza Strip as the Zionist blockade accelerates starvation on the coastal enclave. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a bilateral meeting in Moscow ahead of Victory Day celebrations. The Latin American leader is on an official visit to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Union's win over Nazism in 1945. During the meeting, the two leaders recalled the historical relations between the two countries, especially the friendship that Commander Chavez had with the Russian government and people. For his part, the Venezuelan president expressed the importance of participating in the Victory Day celebrations and the need to defend the role of the USSR in the defeat of fascism, which has been deliberately buried by the West. In this context, the presidents of Russia and Venezuela signed a strategic partnership and cooperation agreement with which the Russian nation grants the highest level of relations to Venezuela and chooses it as the main partner in the region. One of the central axes of the agreement is the creation of an independent financial infrastructure to facilitate trade and investment without depending on Western systems. This mechanism, according to the Venezuelan president, will allow a leap to an illegal relationship, an integral relationship. The countries signed to cooperate in the energy sector with joint investments in oil, gas and mining, and also in the technology and defense areas. The Venezuelan head of state highlighted that this collaboration responds to the ideals of Bolivar and Chavez, while his Russian counterpart emphasized that strengthening the strategic association responds to the harmonic interest of both peoples. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Gil, who is in Moscow as part of his country's delegation for the Victory Day celebrations, noted the importance of the treaty signed on Tuesday.
Russia and Venezuela, after 25 years of close cooperation, thanks to Commander Chavez and President Putin, are now preparing and have signed a strategic cooperation treaty that will take U.S. to the highest level of cooperation. This is the result of this experience and allows U.S. today to offer our people the new, the novel, the modern. Venezuela and Russia have managed to consolidate a long-term strategic partnership. We are talking about a 10-year cooperation agreement that will allow U.S. to accelerate the pace.
Russian President Vladimir Putin met with his Cuban counterpart Miguel Díaz-Canel at the Kremlin on Wednesday to address common interest affairs. In this context, the Russian head of state recalled that Cuban volunteers joined the Red Army by that time. Subsequently, the Kremlin leader commended Cuba's contribution to the great victory over fascism 80 years ago. Meanwhile, Cuban President attached the importance to rescuing the historical memory in times where the Western elites were attempting to undermine the crucial role of the Soviet Union in the great victory over Nazism in 1945. Díaz-Canel stood out that the Russian people was credited to saving humanity from the Nazis' atrocities. Furthermore, he drew attention to the new manifestations of fascism the world was facing. In addition, Cuban head of state praised their 65 years of bilateral amicable relations.
In the 65 years of friendship, our relations have endured despite the challenges that we have had to face. In these times of relations, we have confronted challenges we have also had joint programs and projects. And here we are celebrating 65 years of these relations. And history has shown us that unity is based on solidarity and friendship, which allows us to face the current challenges and the challenges of the future. I'm very happy to be here with you.
The president of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel, held a meeting with the president of the Communist Party of Russia, Gennady Zyuganov, as part of his official work agenda in the Russian nation. During the meeting, the first secretary of the Central Committee of the Cuban Communist Party highlighted the transcendence of the victory of the then Soviet army in the victory of the Great War, as well as the good relations between both parties. The Cuban president was distinguished with the medal in memory of the 80th anniversary of the Great Victory and thanked the Russian party for the support of the Russian party in the consensus reached with his counterpart Vladimir Putin and the Russian Federation. The meeting ended with the signing of agreements reached in 2024. In this context, Russian President Vladimir Putin also met with the President of the Republic of the Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso, who arrived in Moscow on Wednesday to take part of celebrations for the 80th anniversary of the Red Army's victory over Nazism. Opening the meeting with Sassou Nguesso, the Russian head of state affirmed that forming stronger ties with Africa is one of Russia's foreign policy priorities. In this regard, Putin added that a package of joint documents, including an in-depth declaration and a roadmap until 2026, has been adopted on the outcomes of the Russia-Africa summit held in St. Petersburg. The president of China, Xi Jinping, arrived in the city of Moscow as part of his the framework of the events dedicated to the 80th anniversary of the victory over Nazism in the Great Patriotic War. According to the official agenda, Xi Jinping will meet with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, to discuss regional strategies for development between the two countries. The Chinese leader will participate in the traditional commemorative events and the parade for the victory in the Great Patriotic War in Moscow Square on May 9th. In the midst of celebrations for the 80th anniversary of the Great Patriotic War, the Russian Defense Ministry reported that its air defense system had shot down more than 524 Ukrainian drones in less than 24 hours. The military agency stressed that the air defense had withstood the Ukrainian attacks with honor. It also reported the destruction of long-range guided missiles and American-made multiple launch rockets, noting that the downed drones were among the most expensive on the market. Despite Moscow's call for a ceasefire to coincide with Victory Day celebrations, Kyiv has continued to escalate its attacks in recent days, rejecting President Putin's ceasefire. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. At the Vatican City, black smoke billowed from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel at 9 p.m. Wednesday local time, signaling that no pope was elected on the first ballot of the conclave. The smoke appeared roughly 4 hours after 133 cardinals entered the Sistine Chapel, took their solemn oath of secrecy, and formally began the centuries-old process of selecting a successor to Pope Francis to lead the Church's 1.4 billion members worldwide. Since no candidate received the required two-thirds majority, 89 votes, the day concluded without a decision. Outside in St. Peter's Square, the atmosphere was lively as thousands gathered to witness the start of the conclave. Now let's take a look at the profile of 72-year-old Hungarian Cardinal Peter Erdő as a candidate to succeed Pope Francis. Peter Erdő is Archbishop of the city of Esztergom in Budapest and Primacy of Hungary. He holds a doctorate in theology and canon law and has been president of the Council of European Bishops' Conferences. He was appointed cardinal by Pope John Paul II in 2003. Since 2020, he has been a member of the Council for the Economy instituted by Pope Francis. He is considered a conservative leader within the Church, known for his academic background and firm doctrinal stance. And also let's take a look at the profile of 67-year-old Philippine Catholic Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as a candidate for Supreme Pontiff. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle was ordained a priest in 1982, served as Bishop of Imus and Archbishop of Manila, Philippines, before being named a cardinal in 2012 by Pope Benedict XVI. He has held key roles in the Vatican, including prefect of the Dicastery for Evangelization and president of Caritas Internationalis. Dubbed the Asian Francis, his inclusive pastoral approach and advocacy for the marginalized position him as a leading candidate to succeed Pope Francis. Upon the death or resignation of the Pope, the see is declared vacant. During this period, the cardinals hold general congregations to govern the Catholic Church, attending only to urgent and ordinary matters. They also organize the conclave, the electoral assembly, composed of the cardinals of the College of Cardinals. Let's see the following material.
Conclave is held in the Sistine Chapel, the spiritual epicenter of Christianity within the Vatican State. This sacred presence, together with St. Peter's Basilica, its piazza and the Santa Marta residence, becomes the focus of global attention during the election of the new Pope. The cardinal electors who will designate the new pontiff leave the Santa Marta residence, their residence in the Vatican for the duration of the papal election process for St. Peter's Basilica at the beginning of the conclave. All cardinals, bishops, priests, deacons, and lay people can attend this voting mass, which is celebrating before the cardinals are locked in the Sistine Chapel and presided over by the deans of the College of Cardinals. After mass or in the afternoon of the same day, the entrance into the conclave takes place. After a prayer in the Pauline Chapel, the cardinals, dressed in choral habits, walks in solemn procession to the famous Vatican Chapel while chanting the invocation to the Holy Spirit, Veni Creator Spiritus. The Sistine Chapel, the most famous room in the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican City, has been a place where all the conclaves has been held. The Sistine Chapel, accompanied by Michelangelo's frescoes on the vaults and the altar wall, which have made it universally famous, dates back to the 16th century. Before exercising the right to vote, the cardinal electors are obligated to take two oaths. A global one, planning to keep silent about what happened inside the Sistine Chapel, and an individual one, agreeing to faithfully carry out the official elected. After this, the doors of the Sistine Chapel are closed with the iconic extra arms all out, pronounced by the Cardinal Master of Pontifical Liturgical Celebrations before closing the doors of the Sistine Chapel. The Camerlengo, who is in charge of administrating the church in the Vatican while the cardinals participate in the conclave, and 3 assistant cardinals watch to the room remain closed, and with the help of technical experts inspect that there are no instruments to record or reproduce anything that happens inside the chapel.
In other news, in Buenos Aires, the Argentine Senate debates the Ficha Limpia, translated clean sheet, initiative on the political future of Cristina Fernández de Kirchner in Congress. The initiative would modify Argentine electoral legislation, preventing any person convicted of corruption, fraud, or embezzlement of public funds in the second instance from running for elective office. Although the Frente de Todos maintains a critical stance towards the initiative, some sectors of Peronism have shown openness to negotiate changes which could facilitate its approval. Meanwhile, social organizations and human rights referents have come out to support Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, describing the bill as an attempt to oust her. Also, Argentina could join other countries in the region that apply clean sheet legislation. The Chilean government decreed on Wednesday an environmental alert in the city of Santiago de Chile due to air pollution. The Chilean authorities issued the alert due to the poor air quality in the capital city and the bad atmospheric conditions. The measure establishes specific prohibitions such as the lighting of wood burning or wood-derived heaters or the burning of vegetation on agricultural lands. The authorities also suggest reducing the intensity of physical activities in schools or substituting them with contents that do not require greater oxygen consumption, preferably indoors, in order to protect health. In Cuba, the closing day of the 32nd edition of the Romerías de Mayo festival continues in the city of Holguín with the awarding of the Memoria Nuestra prizes. On this occasion, approximately 350 Cuban guests and 100 artists from 18 countries, including Canada, Mexico, Argentina, Peru, and Venezuela, will be taking part. The meeting, also known as the World Festival of Artistic Youth, will last until May 8th and will include approximately 500 activities and 20 different events. It is worth mentioning that this annual festival brings together emerging creators from the island and all over the world. We have a second survey coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, a special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Fun and short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. In Palestine on Wednesday, a new Israeli attack killed more than 60 people across the Gaza Strip as the Zionist blockade accelerates starvation on the coastal enclave. Separate attacks on a restaurant and school in Gaza City killed dozens of people, while a reconnaissance drone strike targeted an area near the Thai and Palmyra restaurants on Al-Weda Street in Gaza City. In addition, 2 missiles were fired at 2 locations at the same time, killing at least 17 people, while another attack killed 13 people at Al-Karama school in the Tufa neighborhood. The non-stop strikes evidence Israel's ongoing genocidal operation in the Strip, which continues targeting civilians in crowded places. The attacks have caused acute food shortages, accelerating the starvation of the Palestinian population. The Director General of Sana'a International Airport, Jalel Al-Shaif, confirmed the suspension of flights to and from the capital of Yemen following the attacks perpetrated by the Zionist army. The General Authority of Civil Aviation and Meteorology has strongly condemned this aggression launched by the Air Force of the Israeli enemy, which left at least 3 dead and 38 wounded. The Director of the agency, Jalel Al-Shaif, confirmed that this event resulted in the destruction of civil aircraft and airport terminals, as well as the runway and civil facilities. In this regard, this attack is qualified as a flagrant violation of international agreements, in particular the Chicago Convention on International Civil Aviation of 1944. The number of people killed in India rises to 11 after an attack by the armed forces of Pakistan. According to Indian police, at least 43 people were also injured in the Pakistan attack on a checkpoint in Poonch district. During the night of this Tuesday, May 6th, the Indian Ministry of Defense announced the launching of airstrikes against sites taken by terrorist groups in the border areas with Pakistan. These actions by India were in response to the April 22nd attack in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir, which authorities said was carried out by armed groups. On the other hand, the Army of Pakistan confirmed on Wednesday 26 dead and 46 wounded as a result of Indian attacks on civilian installations. In this regard, the National Security Committee declared that Pakistan has the right to respond to attacks by Indian force, so they were authorized to launch any attack in response, which have included strikes on Indian fighter jets and shooting along the Kashmir border. Pakistan denounced that India carried out attacks in civilian areas under the argument of attacking terrorist camps. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.